What's up everybody, Camero here, and welcome to part 49 of my How to Make a Pokemon Game tutorial series. In this episode, we are going to be looking at Pokedex Regions, and how we can make our own custom region with its own custom Pokemon order. First, what we're going to look at is a little refresher on how to unlock the Pokedex in our games, as well as how to unlock all the different regions in the Pokedex. And then we'll go and we'll make our own custom Pokedex region that has our own order that we set ourselves. So, with that said, let's get into it. So, what I've got here is a little test map, and here is this little Pokedex event, and really this is just copied from the default Pokemon Essentials Pokemon Lab event, but it has a very important line in it that we want to use to unlock the Pokedex for ourselves. It's really just this script command called $trainer.pokedex equals true. If you call that, what it will do is it will unlock the Pokedex for you, as well as unlock the very first Pokedex region for you. So the very first Pokedex region is Pokedex Region 0. You can also unlock that by calling unlock Dex 0. And you can also, if you really want to, you can lock Dex 0 to restrict access to it. But Dex 0 would be the Kanto Pokedex. And you can see that by going up to your scripts, going to your settings script, which is the one on the very top, and then you can scroll down a bit. I think I may have scrolled a little too much. Wait, there it is. Okay, cool. It's about halfway through the script. But right here, Dex 0, this number, is for the Kanto Pokedex. And then if we want, we can call unlock Dex 1, and that will give us the Johto Pokedex. So this event right here is calling unlock Dex 0, 1, and 2. I haven't made Dex 2 yet, so I think I should do that right now. Let's go back into our script, and let's copy this Johto Pokedex line, and then go down, and then paste. There we go. And we should change that 1 to a 2. There we go. So right there, we've already made a new Pokedex region. We should probably come up with a different name for it. This one's called Johto, and this one's called Johto. So we could really just name this whatever we want. We could, if we want to. We could call it Custom Pokedex. We could call it Test Pokedex. I'll call it Thundaga Pokedex, because, you know, that's who I am. And hey, I mean, I can name it whatever I want. So this is Region 2. So 0, 1, and 2. By default, when you give yourself a Pokedex, 0 is the first one that's unlocked. So if we wanted to, actually, we could change the Kanto Pokedex, and we'll do that later. But right now, let's focus on our new custom region, the Thundaga Pokedex. Cool. So the default Kanto Pokedex will unlock when we interact with this, and then if we interact with this guy, he'll unlock 0, 1, and 2. Cool. And then just as a little brief mention, there's another event here who I also copied from the Pokemon Lab, and this guy will unlock a Dex for you or lock a Dex for you. If you want to somehow in your game restrict access to the Kanto Pokedex or restrict access to the Thundaga Pokedex or whatever, you can call PB unlock or PB lock. So that's something to keep in mind. All right, so what I've got here is also 3 Pokeballs. This one will be a Pikachu, which is in the Kanto Pokedex. This one will be a Totodile, which is in the Johto Pokedex. And then for the Thundaga Pokedex, let's make that happen in Gen 3. So this one is a Mudkip. So let's go into our game right now, and let's work on adding our own custom Pokemon region, or Pokedex region, as well as let's demonstrate the current ones, and then how we can add to that. So if I launch my game, it's loading right now, it's processing, it's taking its time. It's almost done, it's chugging away. Do I get to play? Oh, hey, there we go. Cool. So here I am in my route. First, let me get myself a Pokedex. Cool. And then let me get myself a Pikachu. Would I like to give it a nickname? No thanks. Alright, so if I open up my Pokedex now, I only have 1 region unlocked, and if you only have 1 region unlocked, it'll immediately send you into the Pokedex. Oh yeah, I have a Squirtle also. I used debug to give myself a Squirtle at the very start of the tutorial. So I've got a Squirtle and a Pikachu. So if I talk to this guy, that unlocks all the Dexes. Now, oh yeah, I don't have any Pokemon from the other region, so unlocking the Dex isn't enough. What you also need to do is get yourself a Pokemon from the other region. So now if I go to my Pokedex, you can see that I have 2 Pokemon from the Kanto Pokedex, and then 1 from the Johto Pokedex. I edited it a little bit, so the Johto Pokedex is only Johto Pokemon. So here's Totodile. Cool. But if I pick up this Mudkip, it won't appear in any of them. unless this also unlocks the National Pokedex, which it doesn't. So, Mudkip is not in the Kanto Pokedex or the Johto Pokedex. And there's two things that we could do to fix this. One is we can make our own custom Pokedex region, which we're going to do. And another thing is we could just unlock the National Pokedex for ourselves if we want. So, let's work on our custom region first. What I did there was I pressed F9. You can also just press Escape and then go to Debug. And since I'm in Essentials version 17, my debug menu looks like this. But essentially, I want to go to Information Editors, then I want to scroll down to Edit Regional Dexes. You see here, there's 1, and there's 2, and we need to make a third one. So the way these numbers work is Dex 1 corresponds to the Kanto Dex, which is 0. Dex 2 corresponds to the Johto Dex, which is 1. And we need to make a third one. And this one will correspond to the Thundaga Pokedex. So when you make a new one, you can choose to either start with a blank or fill it in completely with a National Dex. That's going to take a lot of time to fill with a National Dex and then delete from it. So instead I'll just make a blank one and then fill it in with some Pokemon. So let's make a new blank Pokedex. And this is Region 3. And now we can select it, we can edit it, and now what we've got here is our list of Pokemon for our new Pokedex region. It's cool. Let's fill it in now. Let's change the species of 1 from empty to Mudkip. I like Mudkip a lot, so we'll make that the first Pokemon for this region. Mudkip is number 258. Cool. So now Pokemon 2. Hit enter. You can change the species of that. If Mudkip is 258, Marshtomp will be 259. So let's find that real quick. Boop. And then Swampert will be 260. I'm using page down to scroll through these crazy fast. It's super convenient. I use it all the time. All right, Swampert. And now, just for giggles, we could make this any order that we want, right? Since this is our own custom Pokedex. So if I want to, I could make it so Pikachu is the 4th Pokemon, and make it so that way Raichu's the 5th, you know? I mean, this is your Pokedex when you customize it. So think of your Pokemon game region and what you would like to put in it, and think about your own custom order. Like, screw it. I could make it so Totodile is the 6th Pokemon, you know, if I really wanted to. Cool, so that should be enough. Let me hit Escape. Oh yeah, one other thing. You'll see on the right side of the screen, you can change the order by holding Z and pressing up and down. Or you can delete an entry or insert a new entry, and it's really cool. So yeah, use those there's those keyboard shortcuts. It's really nice. So, now that I've got my Pokedex the way I like it, I'll hit Escape, save the changes, yes please, cool. So, one thing that's also cool is you can hit Z up and down to rearrange the Pokemon Dexes. That's pretty nice also. So right now the 3rd Pokedex is our Thundaga Pokedex. Eventually, I'm going to want to make it so that way that's our default one that we start with. So at the very start of the game, you will have the Thundaga Pokedex. But right now, let's just show it off in action first before we do anything too crazy. Cool, so that's Kanto. That's Johto, and this is Thundaga. Let's hit Escape, and now it will compile the changes. It has to process all the Pokemon species, so you can't see right now on the top of my screen, but when this is happening, it'll say Processing Species on the top of your bar, and it'll just take a little bit. Boom, now it's done. Data is saved. Cool. So, and also, since I'm a little paranoid, I'm going to hit Escape. I'm going to go down to Other Options, and just to make 100% sure that it all is going to compile, I'm going to go down to Compile Data and hit Enter on that. And this will take a little bit, maybe like 10, 15 seconds at most. It'll just compile your game's data just to make sure that it's all 100% up to date, that we're good to go. It's compiling all the data. It'll be done real soon. Boom, there it's done. So now I hit Enter, I hit Escape again. Cool. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to close the game. I'm going to close RPG Maker, just because I'm paranoid, just in case. This is like a 100% foolproof way of making it work. Cool. So, now, let's start our game. Actually, no, before we start it real quick, let's make sure this is 0, 1, and 2. And this is, our Thundaga Pokedex will be 2. There it is. Cool. So, let's start our game. And here is something very important to note. Our old save file will still be using the Pokedex data from like previously. So what we need to do to make sure that we're using the new Pokedex data is to start a new game. So let's start a new game. Boom, there we go. Slate is clean. This will 100% work, guaranteed. We give ourselves a Pokedex. There we go. We give ourselves a Pikachu. No, thank you. We give ourselves a Totodile. No, thank you. We give ourselves a Mudkip. Oh, I'm not going to nickname it. Cool. So, before I talk to this guy, we only have the Kanto Pokedex unlocked. On the top it says Kanto Pokedex. I've only seen one Pokemon from the Kanto Pokedex, which is a Pikachu. Cool. So by default, that Pokedex 0 is unlocked. Now, if I talk to this guy, he'll unlock 0, 1, and 2. There we go. So now, if I go into my Pokedex, you'll see that I have the Kanto region, the Johto region, and the Thundaga region. Interestingly enough, you'll see I've only seen one Kanto Pokemon, which is Pikachu. I've only seen one Johto Pokemon, which is Totodile, but I've seen 3 Thundaga Pokemon, which are Mudkip, Pikachu, and Totodile, following the order that we set before. So, if you want, you can go into that editor and you can make your own custom Pokedex order. So now if I go to Mudkip, there we go. All right, let's close the game. So your game will crash when you view a Pokemon if you don't have a Region 2 made. So just to be 100% safe, I went into the town map TXT in my PBS folder and just made a second region called Thundaga, and that's using map-region2.png. And I also went into my graphics folder and went into pictures and found map region 1 and just copied it and pasted it and called it map region 2. Cool. So if you're viewing a Pokemon in Pokedex region 2 and you don't have a map for region 2 or a region made for region 2, then the game will crash when you look at the Pokedex. But that won't be a problem if we make that custom region our new starting region, and we can actually do that really easily. So let's go back into our script, and instead, let me scroll up actually, settings, scroll down, there's our Thundaga Pokedex. What we can do, this is a nice little trick, instead of the Kanto being the starting one, we can call that Thundaga, and then instead of, let's do a little bit of a reordering here, we can make Kanto the first one, and then we can make Johto the second one. If I could spell, right now it says Chi-Johto. Cool, so Johto. So now Thundaga is 0, Kanto is 1, and Johto is 2, and then the National Pokedex is just the default. Cool. Like I said previously, if you want to unlock the National Dex, you can just call this. Boop, 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 boink. Cool. So, what this one Pokedex event will do is unlock Region 0, and then this one will now unlock the National Dex 1 and 2. Alright, so now there's only one more thing that needs to be done in order for our region to be the default region that we get and we see when we unlock the Pokedex for ourselves. Let's go into our debug menu again. Let's go into our information editors again. I'm going to hit page down and then go to edit regional dexes. Now, let's go and reorder it. I touched upon it previously, but Z and then up, up. There we go. So now, our first dex is the Thundaga Pokedex with 6 Pokemon in it. Our second dex is Kanto with 151 in it. Our third dex is Johto with 100 Pokemon in it. Cool. So now let me hit escape to save the changes. Yes, cool. So while it's saving the changes, let me say this. If you do not have a map for your Pokemon region, the game will crash when you try to look at a Pokemon in the Pokedex, because it also tries to pull up the region map in the Pokedex entry. So I've saved my changes, and just to be 100% certain, because I'm a little paranoid, because sometimes your data doesn't compile 100%, this way is 100% gonna work if you do it this way. I mean, it might work in other ways also, but this way is just like, hey, taking no chances. Making 100% sure that our data will compile. We've compiled it, it's compiling all the messages, cool. Our game data has been compiled. I'm gonna hit escape a couple times. You close the game, you close RPG Maker, you go back into your game folder, you reopen RPG Maker, boom, you hit play, all right, and then we make a new game. All right, cool. So now, what we have done is we have made it so that way our default region is the Thundaga Pokedex region. So let me give myself a Pikachu, let me give myself a Totodile, and let me give myself a Mudkip again. Cool, so now if I open my Pokedex, along the top of the screen, it says Thundaga Pokedex, and it is using the Pokedex region that we made ourselves. So Mudkip is the first one, Pikachu is the fourth one, Totodile is the sixth one, and if we you know, evolve our Mudkip into a Marshtomp. That'll be the next one, and then a Swampert, Pikachu, Raichu. So this is a cool trick that you can use to make your own Pokedex layout in your own order and make that custom for your own game. As well as you can make it so that way if there's multiple regions in your game, that you can catch different Pokemon in them, and you can use different maps for them. And yeah, it's really cool. So there are still a couple things that need to be edited because now it says Thundaga Pokedex, but for other regions it says other things. You can do that by modifying your region settings. But in general, our Pokedex is looking pretty good now. It's using the order that we set. And let's interact with this guy now to unlock the other Pokedex regions. So let's take a look at them now. So I have 3 Pokemon from the Thundaga Pokedex, 1 from Kanto, 1 from Johto. And remember, Mudkip isn't in Kanto or Johto. And then the National Dex has 3 also. Cool. And the National Dex will show them all in order, which is... well, that's a lot. That's a lot of Pokemon. Cool. Right on. So, one more thing that I'll touch upon before I end this tutorial is when I pulled up the map right there, it said Essen, because Essen is the name of Region 0. But if I change this to Thundaga now, boink, and then hit save, and then launch my game again, when I pull up the map while viewing the Pokemon in the Pokedex, it'll say the Thundaga region now. So, I just want to show that off before exiting, because otherwise it'll feel like incomplete. But, yeah. Otherwise, it's pretty good. So let me make a new game, just cuz. It can't hurt to be a little paranoid in this. There we go. Would I like to give a nickname? No. There we go. Would I like to give a nickname? Nah. There you go. Would you like to give a nickname? It's okay, I'll pass. Boop. There we go. We unlock all the regions again. We go to our Pokedex again. There we go. We have Thundaga, Kanto, Johto, and National. So if I go to Thundaga Pokedex, if I highlight Mudkip, we get our entry. We get his footsteps, we get his height and weights. All of that's determined in another PBS file if you're confused. His area, I mean, he doesn't show up in the wild anywhere in my game anyway. It shows his forms. Cool. So, oh yeah, that's another thing that I can talk about right now, actually. There's still a couple things I can talk about before I end this video. There's still some more neat Pokedex facts that we can look into. But yeah, so now it says Thundaga in the top right. Cool. That is donezo. That is nice. Cool. So another thing that I'll touch upon really quick. I have 2 more things I want to touch upon real quick. So, you'll see that I have Thundaga, Kanto, Johto, and National. Let me show off what locking a Pokedex region does. So this guy, he says he control your access. I can go to Kanto, and I can lock it. There we go. So I think that one, based on this, I think this guy's script, what Kanto does is it actually locks Dex 0. So he's lying to me. He says it's going to be Dex 0, but Dex 0 has changed. He thinks that Dex 0 is Kanto, but Dex 0 is actually Thundaga. So if I open up my Pokedex now, Dex 0 has been locked out, but Dex 0 is the Thundaga region. So, if I unlock it again, if I talk to him, so instead of PB lock, he'll do PB unlock. There we go. So instead of Kanto, that'll unlock the Thundaga Dex again. Cool. So we still have access to it. You can lock and unlock Dex regions as you want, so that's kind of nice. But that's one thing that's really cool. Another thing I'll talk about that's really cool is just another thing in our scripts. In the settings script, if you scroll down to the halfway point again, right here where our Pokedex stuff is, there's a couple other things that you can do, such as Dex depends on location. If you set this to true, it'll make it so that way the Pokedex that you are viewing is based on the region that your player is currently standing in. If you set that to false, you can make it so the player chooses. But if you set that to true, the Pokedex will automatically change to match the region that the player's standing in. So there's another thing that you can do, which is always show forms. This will make it so that way if you catch a Pokemon, it'll automatically unlock all the forms. I mean, if you have any questions about what these things do, there's also very nice write-ups about all the specifics right above them, so you can check those out. But if you want to make it so that way catching a Pokemon allows you to see their forms, see what their shiny looks like and all that stuff, you can set that to true if you want to make it nicer for the player. Cool. And then another thing which I don't really use is Dex index offsets. I mean, like I said before, there's a big write-up on all of them. But, yeah. This is pretty nice. So, I hope this episode helped you out. Let me know if you have any other questions or if there's anything that was confusing about this. But really, what this should do is allow you to make your own custom Pokedex region and then, you know, set that as the default region for your game and then make it so that way the access that, or the things that people see are, you know, controlled, basically. Let me go and show it off one more time. Head of regional Dex is cool. So if you want, you could make your own list. Like, let's say in your Pokemon fan game, you made your own custom region. And let's say you called your custom region, I don't know, the Dingus region, I don't know, whatever. And in this region, there's 100 Pokemon in your game. You can make your own custom Pokedex this way, order those 100 Pokemon however you please, and then make that the default Pokedex, so that way when your player receives a Pokedex, they open it up and it says, hey, Dingus Region Pokedex, here's all 100 Pokemon. You can make your own custom starters, because, you know, there's tutorials that I've done in the past about how to make your own Fakemon. Make your own custom Pokemon, put them in the Pokedex, do your own thing. That's really nice. So, I guess one other thing I'll touch upon before I end the video. I mean, I just don't want to end this video, if I'm being honest. No, I do eventually want to end it. One final thing, if you're asking yourself, where do I see all the info for the Pokemon in the Pokedex? It's all here inside of the Pokemon.txt file in your game folder, PBS, Pokemon.txt. Inside of all of it, every Pokemon has a whole bunch of info for them. You can see their Pokedex entry. You can see like what kind of Pokemon they are, their region numbers. Like, all of this stuff is for the Pokemon.txt. It's really cool. Yeah, habitat, color, height, weight, you know, all of it. It's all in here. Cool. And then I guess one other thing, while we're talking about Pokedex entries, is I believe it's graphics battlers. No, sorry. It might be graphics pictures, actually. Basically, there is a folder, icons, I think is what it is. Yeah, icons, sorry. In the icons folder, there's footprints, and these are all the footprints for all the Pokemon. So, like, Pokemon 1 is Bulbasaur, so this is the footprint for Bulbasaur that will show up in the Pokedex. So if you make your own custom Pokemon and you put them all the way at the very bottom, and like after Genesect you have Pokemon 650 and it's your own custom Pokemon, definitely be sure to make footprint 650, and so that way when you view your Pokemon in the Pokedex you can see all that. Cool. I'm not really going to touch upon anything else for this video. The entire premise of this video was mainly to touch upon making your own Pokedex with its own custom order, with its own like region and its own all of that stuff. If you want to look at how to customize the visuals of the Pokedex, that's more in the scripting territory, which is something that you'd have to dig a little bit deeper on. This video is mainly just to be like, hey, we're going to use the default essentials visuals, but then, you know, edit and modify our own order. If you do want to dig a little deeper into the scripts and see what you can do to edit the Pokedex, you can go to the P screen Pokedex menu, Pokedex main, Pokedex entry. These three scripts really just control like what you see in the Pokedex and, you know, how that all the layout is. But we're not going to touch upon that in this episode because that is a lot. That is a hell of a lot of stuff. But yeah, hopefully you found this video helpful. Hopefully now when you make your own Pokemon game, you can make your own region and, you know, have your own regional Pokedex with its own order that you have made custom. So you can, you know, put your starters at the top, you can put it on the bottom, you can put them in the middle, you can put them wherever you want. But yeah, thank you all for watching this episode. I hope it was helpful, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube, follow on Twitter and Twitch, and join the Thundaga Discord. And yeah, I mean, I said it a couple times before, but I hope you found this video helpful. If you have any other questions, feel free to reach out. I'm sorry I've been distant. I'm just really bad, I guess. I'm so busy, I'm sorry. But yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one, and have a good rest of your day, and have a good time making your fan game. And yeah, bye-bye, guys.